Hello, my dear students. I'm back with another video which will include all the important question answers from the chapter The Rat Trap. And before I explain all the question answers, let me tell you that in some answers I have deleted verbs, articles, and other unnecessary words to just convey the message. So, when you are writing in the examination, you have to write in proper grammatical structure and it should be in a paragraph. Students, let's begin with the first question, that is theme of the story. First point that you have to write is the story dwells on the human tendency to redeem oneself from dishonest ways. Next point will be the trap of material benefits that most human beings are prone to fall into is second theme of the story. Third point, which is extremely important, is human loneliness and need to bond with others. Next is, it brings out proclivity or natural tendency to look down upon the have-nots or the poor people of the society. Next point is, deprive poor of an opportunity to make their lives worth living. There are good souls to help them come out of abyss of their wretchedness and live a dignified life. The message of the story is the latent spark of human goodness is inherent in each and every one of us. It can be stirred into life through love and understanding. No one is infallible or without fault. Therefore, one should think twice before setting in judgment and condemning and criticizing the sinner. Next message is each one of us can succumb to temptation in our weak moments. Our avarice can allure us into touching the bait and getting trapped. Let's move towards the another question. Why was the peddler amused by the idea of the world being a rat trap? Here you have to write, the world had never treated the peddler kindly. He was full of bitterness and malice. He visualized the whole world, succumb to its temptation and touch the bait of riches and joys. He felt amused. Here, peddler used to think that he does not have anything, therefore he is not trapped in this rat trap. Okay? But eventually he also becomes a prey to it. So till the time he was not trapped, he used to make fun of people who have luxuries and riches of the world. Next question is, did the peddler expect the kind of hospitality that he received from the crofter? The answer is no, not at all. Here, the peddler was shooed away by all. No one treated him kindly. The cold treatment frustrated him and kept him devoid of warmth and hospitality. When he approached the crofter's roadside cottage, he expected to be greeted by a sour face, and warm welcome surprised him greatly. Why was the crofter so talkative and friendly? Here, having no wife or child, the old crofter's life was full of loneliness, boredom, and monotony. When he found company of the peddler, he poured all warmth and friendliness, and that is why Crofter was talkative and extremely friendly. Important question is, why did the crofter show the 30 krona to the peddler? Here, the peddler was a guest in the house of Crofter, and Crofter was extremely happy. He was excited about having earned 30 krona in a month, and this joy he had no one to share with. Therefore, he showed it to peddler. Not only that, the peddler doubted that if he had earned 30 krona. That is why, in order to confirm it, he showed those money to the peddler. Next question. Did the peddler respect the confidence reposed in him by the crofter? Driven by want, hunger, and starvation, the peddler had no principles in life. He was tempted to steal the money to lead a relaxed life for a few days. He did not respect the confidence which was reposed on him by the crofter. Next question is, why did the ironmaster speak kindly to the peddler and invited him home? Here you should write the answer. In this uncertain glow of the furnace, the ironmaster mistook the tramp for Captain Nils Olof, an old regimental comrade. Finding him in a bad shape, he thought of making his future secure and present comfortable. That is why he called this man to the house. But at that point of time, he did not find out whether he was his old regimental comrade or somebody else. Next question. Why did the peddler decline Ironmaster's invitation? Here, the peddler did not try to correct the ironmaster when he mistook him for an old regimental officer. He thought the ironmaster will drop a few kroners, and this man was interested in money only. Due to the apprehensions of being caught for having stolen the crofter's money, he declined the invitation of the ironmaster. One thing we should remember out here, and that is, peddler who was longing for shelter and food declines the offer of the ironmaster, who said to give him comfort of life and other things as well. But because of one crime, okay, he was in trouble now. He had to refuse the offer which was made by ironmaster because of the thievery that he did in Crofter's house. Let's move ahead. Having vehemently declined the ironmaster's invitation, why did he receive Edla's invitation? The peddler declined the ironmaster's invitation for fear of being caught for stealing the old crofter's money, but warmth, friendliness, and compassion of Edla instilled his confidence in her. He was also touched by the ring of sincerity in her voice. Let's move ahead. Though still quite young, Edla Wilmanson had a good psychological insight and a keen observation. Comment. Here the girl was very young but keen observant. She had a better psychological insight into human mind than her father. Here we find father jumps to the conclusion without contemplating on his words and the situation, whereas Edla does the research work and comes to a conclusion. She does not hurry in making decisions. Next point, on noticing fear in the eyes of the peddler when invited to the manor house, she immediately concluded that he had either stolen some money or had escaped from the jail. Let's move to the next question. When did the ironmaster realize his mistake of confusing the peddler's identity with the captain? Here, after the servant had given the peddler a bath, a shave, and haircut, and his master's fine clothes, the guest looked well groomed. In broad daylight, the ironmaster knew that he was a tramp and not a former colleague. What did the peddler say in his defense when it was clear that he was not the person the ironmaster thought him to be? The value points will be the one which are highlighted here. Let's move towards the point. The peddler told the ironmaster that he had made no attempt to dupe the latter into mistaking his identity. He had neither pretended to be the captain nor accepted his host's invitation to come to the manor house readily. In fact, he repeatedly begged to be allowed to sleep in the forge. Why was Edla happy to see the gift left by the peddler? Answer is he had respected the faith shown in him by her. He did not walk off with their silverware as expected by the Iron Master. The gesture proved that the goodness in his heart had been awakened and he behaved like a real dignified captain. The reader's sympathy is with the peddler right from the beginning of the story. Why is it so? Is the sympathy justified? In your answer, you should write these points. A stricken person who used to lead a pathetic life cannot expect any warmth from the world. The peddler moves the reader and arouses his sympathy right from the beginning of the story. The sympathy is definitely not ill placed as the tramp is facing such a life not due to any fault of his own, but because it is not there in his destiny. Even though he tries to sell Rattrap, and here we get to see that he is not interested much in begging. Apart begging its secondary task that he does. He makes Rattrap and sells it. It shows that he is hardworking person, but because of the situation, he is into this condition. Next question. The crofter can be called a good host. Why? Here, of course, the crofter can be called a good host because he was a wonderful host, treated the peddler kindly. He offered him food and shelter in his house. Not only that, he reposed full faith on him and showed his income. Then he devoted his precious time of that particular night to this peddler. Let's move to the next question. Briefly describe the vagabond of the rat trap. The peddler, who is the protagonist, had emaciated body or thin, malnutritioned body. His cheeks were sunken. Hunger, want, and starvation were writ large. Those were shown large on his face. Unkempt hair, unshaven face, and unbody made him look repulsive, and he was shooed away from everywhere. His endeavor to earn a living by selling rat traps made by himself showed that he was enterprising, hardworking, and was keen to avoid begging. What did the Iron Master plan to do for the so called captain? At first, he wanted to feed him because he looked so hungry and emaciated. Then, he wanted to help him to do something more worthwhile and respectable for earning his living. This was the plan which he made with Edla. But Edla knew that he was not at all a captain. Why did Edla still entertain the peddler even after she knew the truth about him? Here you should mention Edla was a kind and compassionate girl. She did not know about the antecedents of the rat trap seller. She wanted to give comfort to the peddler. She was empathetic. She understood the pain of this peddler. Entire year he had to walk in different lanes and places in order to sell his rat trap, and this was the only day when he can expect something from Edla. That is why she was empathetic towards peddler and she did not shoo him away just like other people, especially her father. Therefore, she shows quality of a true Christian who wanted to be nice to him. She was conscious of the fact that they had themselves invited the traveler. Finally, the kind gesture on her part reformed the peddler. Why did the peddler sign himself as Captain von Stahl? The peddler was touched by the kind treatment Edla gave him. The girl, in spite of knowing his real identity, treated him like a captain. It was now his turn to show Edla that the guest she had honored was an honorable one and was worthy of being a captain, and not merely a petty thief. The latent goodness of the heart was awakened and he actually behaved in a dignified manner and cleared himself. This conveys that such a small act of kindness have lasting impact on individuals. Next important question is, describe how the story The Rat Trap shows the basic human goodness can be brought out by understanding and love. Here you can put asterisk mark, students, because this was asked in previous year questions as well in long question answers. Let's begin. The peddler initially does not seem to have any principles in life. Driven by want, hunger, and starvation, he does not mind stooping to begging and stealing. Showing scant regard to the crofter's hospitality and generosity, he ditched him. The ironmaster's hospitality, too, does not touch the peddler's heart. He replies to the ironmaster bluntly in the party. But Edla's warmth, friendliness, and hospitality transformed him. The status to which the girl raised him stirs the latent goodness of his heart, and that made him repay the money of the crofter. Next question is, there is a saying, kindness pays, rudeness never. In the story, Edla's attitude towards men and matters is different from her father's attitude. Bring out the differences in the personality between the father and the daughter. Here, at first, we should write, of course, father and the daughter stand in contrast to each other. Keeping in mind the age factor, one expects a sense of maturity from the father, but contrary to the expectation, the father acts impulsively and casually. He jumps to the conclusion without giving much thought to the problem. Without confirming the identity, he called the rat trap seller to the manor house. Again, on realizing on realizing his mistake, he is rude and threatens to refer the matter to the sheriff or police. Not only that, he worries about silverwares than the person. Next point that you are going to write is, Edla had many positive values. The strong sense of observation. She did not judge the peddler. She was very cool and sympathetic towards the peddler, very good at convincing people. She promised Christmas cheer, and she herself had brought the peddler, and therefore she showed concern and compassionate that changed the captain, that changed the tramp into a captain. Because of Edla, the peddler redeemed himself from dishonesty and undergoes a thorough transformation. The story has many instances of unexpected reactions from the characters to one's behaviors. Pick out the instances of these surprises. Here, the first thing which is unexpected and surprises us is the old crofter's reaction to the tramp's request for shelter at night in an unexpected one is an unexpected one. Used to being greeted with sour faces, the peddler himself got a bit of surprise by the unexpected hospitality. Stealing by the rat trap seller is another thing that readers don't expect. The breach of trust comes as a bit of a shock to the readers. Next is the ironmaster's sudden invitation to a tramp is another surprise. The peddler's vehement refusal when he longed for a comfortable stay throughout life. Next question is Next point is accepting Edla's request is another surprise. Father's request was vehemently denied and daughter's request was accepted. This is also another surprise to the audience. Last point, which is extremely important, are leaving stolen money and a letter. When the peddler leaves the money and writes a letter for Edla, that is unexpected thing to the readers. And when he returns the money, that is also unexpected one, because just because of this money he was in hell lot of trouble. Therefore, readers never expected that he is going to give back this money. But this happened because of Edla's compassion. How does the metaphor of the rat trap serve to highlight the human predicament? This is important. Children, please put asterisk mark. The metaphor of rat trap reveals man's helplessness, restlessness, and powerlessness in the face of difficult situations that pursuit of joys and luxuries land him in. Just as the bait of cheese and pork tempt a rat, the peddler yields to his temptations, then runs like a madman to escape. For the rat trap seller, the world is a big rat trap. All aims and ambitions of attaining great heights remain unfulfilled. One finds himself incapable, wriggle out of pettiness and trivialities. Not only that, many times one is aware of having been trapped, but instead goes on receding deeper and deeper into the trap and loses all chances of deliverance. Next important question is, the peddler comes out as a person with a subtle sense of humor. How does this serve in lightening the seriousness of the theme of the story? Does this quality of his make him more acceptable to us? Why not? Let's see the answer. The peddler did not have a great sense of humor. His outlook on life is rather pessimistic and his actions irresponsible. However, the foolish way in which he acts is quite humorous. His comparison of the rat trap to the world is humorous. He considers all the luxurious things are bait, yet becomes a prey to it. The dramatic way he was invited to the manor's house is also humorous, as no one bothers about unknown vagabond in real life. His exposure is also equally dramatic. The comparison of temptation and sinfulness is a rat trap bait is indeed very amusing. His temptation followed by is the main focus of the story. Next point is, his ability to regain his equilibrium makes him comical, but his philosophy is chain of thoughts. His guilty conscience and his eventful reformation makes him truly humane, which is what endears him to us. Story The Rat Trap focuses on human loneliness and the need to bond with others. Comment. Theme of loneliness runs throughout the story. The peddler, the crofter, the ironmaster, and Edla suffers from loneliness and desperately seek redemption from it. The protagonist is alone throughout the story, lives alone, walks alone, and talks alone. He talks with he himself, okay, or inner self. Crofter does not have financial issues but feels alone in absence of a wife and children. He is overjoyed to receive a guest and show generosity and genuine hospitality to him. The ironmaster and Edla also longs for company. It gnaws their heart all of more on the occasion of Christmas. It shows their Christmas kindness and hospitality as well when they give food and shelter to the Rattrap seller. All of them have a strong desire for bonding. Bonding with the peddler gives joy to the crofter. He is full of life in his little cottage because of the guest. Next point will be, bonding transforms the tramp and awakens the goodness of his heart. He gets rid of his dishonest ways. The story is both entertaining and philosophical. Discuss. Of course, the story is both entertaining and philosophical. Its fast paced third person narrative with generous sprinkling of dialogue makes it interesting. The graphic description of the characters, locales, and scenes, together with elements of drama and irony, make it amusing as well as interesting. Here, you should write, this world is full of traps and sooner this world is full of traps and everyone sooner or later falls into one trap or the other and feels like a rat in a trap. A streak of philosophy is found here in these lines that a rat is being trapped because of the bait. Okay? Some people fall into the abyss of sinfulness, never to come out of it. Others, like the peddler, break the vicious circle of temptation and sin and discover the inherent goodness in them. This world has no dearth of people like Edla and her father. The story teaches us to resist, beat temptation, and not to be judgmental for no one is fallible or without mistake. Students, by this we have completed all the question answers. If you want me to explain anything from the chapter, do let me know. We will meet in our next video. Till then, take care, bye bye, and all the best for your examination.